Welcome to Coffee and a Weather Map with Jeff. It's Monday, August 11th, 2025. I'm going to try to make this faster. I'm trying something new. I also tried to go live, and that's one of the reasons why I haven't gotten this out earlier, but we'll see what happens. All right, let's jump into the forecast, or what's going on around everywhere. We'll start off with the upper air. And this morning we have a trough of low pressure that kind of sits right in the middle of the country. It's trying to move off to the east. It's still expected to cause some showers and thunderstorms in the upper Great Lakes. Eventually, this pattern should flatten out again, looking at the models over the time. And then we have areas of disturbed weather. Right now, there's one there in East Texas that's kind of associated with another area of low pressure at the surface, and we'll talk about that in a second, as well as then something off the Florida coast. People I know have been asking about whether this is something to be concerned with tropical-wise, but I think they're monitoring it. We'll see what happens. But it does look kind of healthy at this point out in that area. All right. So if we go take a look at the national surface map, we have we have a cold front that stretches down from Canada into the upper Great Lakes that goes all the way down into the middle Mississippi Valley. You see that extends then into Oklahoma and then out to the west across the panhandle of Texas and northern New Mexico. We'll take a little bit of a look at that here on the local analysis. I've done that today. As you get up into the Pacific Northwest, there's still some areas of showers and thunderstorms and fronts that are coming across portions of Washington, but otherwise most of the precipitation is currently focused in on that cold front up there along Montana. We'll start first down in South Texas to take a look at the Southern Plains analysis. You still have that front. I have maybe drawn a little bit to the south, probably could be bent up into New Mexico there a little bit, but it's not too bad, just considering. Otherwise, if you really look at South Texas itself, you see although the line of pressure is very wide and spread out, so you get the winds going every which direction. The sea breeze will be the main activator if there's any showers and thunderstorms going on, as well as that upper level low, which is up here in East Texas. Looking at northern Michigan, I will tell you if you hear any wind sounds on my microphone, it's because it's blowing out here pretty well. We're probably about 10 to 15 knots with gusts to 20. It's kind of rocking the boat here at the dock side as I'm sitting out here on the back deck, the aft deck. All right, otherwise there's just showers and thunderstorms that are out ahead of this cold front that we had talked about earlier on the surface trough, or the surface map from the national part, that's going through northern lower Michigan as well as the upper peninsula, the eastern part of the upper peninsula and into Canada. That front goes further south to the west, as we saw, and it joins up down there into Kansas and then continues on down into Texas. This is all one big system. Then we have high pressure over the mid-Atlantic states and high pressure now in the northern plains. And to take a look at the tropics, there is a tropical wave that's just getting over to the Lesser Antilles. That's something we can watch, but it's not likely to get into favorable condition. However, there's several that are actually causing concern. We'll talk about the one off Africa here in a second. There's one here. We've been watching that's 96L, this 1018 low. It's expected to continue up to the north. There's a new one that's popped up, and it's up here. It's this low pressure system that's starting to occlude as an extratropical storm system, but there's thoughts that it may try to acquire tropical or subtropical characteristics over time. Not sure where it's going to go at this point, but it is a possibility. However, here's 97L down here. It just came off of the African coast. and it is expected to move off to the northwest, and we will talk about more of it later, but this is the one that everyone is watching, and that has a lot of the weather community up in arms about how fast and how much we should be telling about it. But remember, it is 7 to 10 days out from the U.S. coastline at this point. The people that will want to really take notice right now are in the Lesser Antilles, especially in the northern part, up by the Virgin Islands, Puerto Rico, Barbuda, Antigua. Those places are closer to which would get it first. And just to take a look at the watch, warning, and advisories that are out there, we have heat advisories up in Maine and the rest of New England, Vermont, and a portion of upstate New York. There are air quality alerts. Some of it's the leftover smoke from the Canadian fires that moved out east there. I think there's just an ozone issues as well, and that's basically New York City over to Connecticut, and it looks like a little bit into Rhode Island. We do still have Canadian smoke issues in the Great Lakes, so Minnesota and the UP of Michigan have air quality issues as well. There's still some patchy dense fog in areas around the Mississippi River going down south into Iowa and parts of Wisconsin and Illinois, as well as then also there's an area in northeastern Nebraska that has a special weather statement out for fog as well. There is heat advisories down to the south in a few places that looks like it's pretty spotty. Air quality due to smoke out in Colorado. We have a flood watch in Kansas, and then all up and down portions of the West Coast. So from Washington and Idaho south into Oregon, Nevada, and California, ending down in Arizona, we have a whole host of heat advisories and extreme heat warnings expected for today. Now let's jump over here. Tropics, weather, special SPC. All right. We do have a chance for thunderstorms in the upper Great Lakes. Most of it is expected to be general. The main thing is that marginal up in North Dakota and northern Minnesota. They are that front that is kind of dragging across North Dakota and eastern Montana is expected to continue and pop off more showers and thunderstorms. They could become severe. Then that other front that we were showing that goes down into Oklahoma, the panhandle of Texas, and northeastern New Mexico has a marginal as well. Marginal for Michigan tomorrow. Well, Lake Michigan, Wisconsin, and the UP of Michigan. We'll see if that doesn't expand a little bit, but for the most part, that front is kind of stalling out and it's not moving very fast. This whole upper air system, as much as I think it's going to try and move into more of a east or west-east pattern, that trough is taking longer than I would have expected. However, by Wednesday, looks like the upper Great Lakes get out of the thunderstorms, and that's going to be basically confined to almost the entire East Coast, and then anywhere west of that, south of the Great Lakes, going into New Mexico. There's also that front, that slow front up in the Dakotas, which will continue to produce a marginal outlook for severe weather. For the excessive heavy rain, there is that chance. It's marginal for the risk across the lower peninsula of Michigan. There is a slight risk, though, however, in the southern region, where over in Oklahoma, that's all a part of that front that we've shown on the analysis that goes through Oklahoma and into North Texas, as well as the Panhandle. That upper level low that's been causing issues off of Florida in the Western Gulf or the Eastern Gulf is still causing slight risks for heavy rain there in the Panhandle. It was causing a lot more of it down into down by Fort Myers and such. Then there's another area that's just off the coast, and that is expected to cause more showers and thunderstorms across the Carolinas. All right, day 7. Oh, well, it says day 7. I looked at the wrong thing. But here are those national hurricane graphics. I was talking about the one up to the north here. That's the one, it's disturbance 3. It hasn't even been given an invest yet. So 10% chance in anything happening in the next 48 hours or 7 days for that matter. Number 2, this is 96L, which is disturbance 2. We've seen this one here for a while. It's a weak trough. It continues to move off to the north and now a little east of north. And it has a very low chance with 10%. But of course, everyone wants to talk about this one. So the expectation, it looks like, they have corrected 97L's size. It's not going to develop into this. No, I shouldn't say it that way. It's expected to develop within the cross-hatched area, and there's a 90% chance it's going to happen probably within the next 48 hours. They've shrunk the size down because they had the area in which it may develop much larger the last couple of days. But now I think they're honing in on the actual forecast on when it will become Aaron. At least that is the idea. So that's one of the issues to watch for this week. But remember, we are still 7 to 10 days out from the U.S. coast if it does get going here anytime soon. Okay, not sure why the dynamic ensemble-based scenarios for IDSS. I lost my max temperatures. It likes to do that. It also, for whatever reason, the cities are not appearing, but I can get the coastal outline and I'll put the state lines on there and the CWAs. Okay. Give a little bit more definition. However, I do have my trusty Apple Pencil, and I can just hover over and give a sample. So out in northwest lower Michigan, we've got 83s for highs today. Just make sure I got the right time frame. Yep. As well as portions of West Michigan. It does start to warm up pretty quickly with mid to upper 80s as you head east. They're expecting that over in northeast lower Michigan as well as into the Thumb, where it actually gets into the lower 90s and down into the Detroit area. For tomorrow, Tuesday, we're looking at mid to upper 80s in northern lower, as well as in basically over most of lower Michigan, with the warmest temperatures over on the east side of the state. Once that front goes through, then things should cool down a bit more. We're going to get into the 70s in northern lower Michigan, maybe around the lower 80s over in that southeast corner of northern lower Michigan. Right there from about Harrisville, Alpena, Harrisville, and down to Gladwin and Aranac counties. West Michigan itself will probably be in the lower to mid 80s, with maybe some 70s along the shoreline, which would be about where I'm at, near north of Muskegon. A little bit further north or a little bit further east, we are expecting temperatures in the mid 80s around the Detroit area and maybe Flint and Saginaw as well. Okay, over the next 24 hours, this is what the probability is for precipitation, ending at 8 a.m. on Tuesday. So this is for Monday and Monday night into Tuesday morning. And we are looking at likely to categorical precipitation across most of the lower peninsula, except for right along the coastal lines. It's like in the around 50%. But something to show you, which I meant to show earlier, this is the cloud cover, but we will go over to MRMS. We do have showers and thunderstorms moving through right now. Of course, that front is just off to the east, and so or west, And so it should be pushing some of that through. We'll see how fast it goes. I think just because that front is tending to linger, that's the issue. And then obviously then there's other areas of rain causing along that front as you get further off to the southwest. And that's also a concern because it is tending to run up the front, which is along that upper air trough. All right, back to this. Okay, so if we move on to Tuesday, so for the 24-hour chance probability for precipitation, we are looking at categorical to likely again across almost the entire area. I think the models overdo it sometimes with these stuck troughs. It's probably a little bit less. I don't think everyone it's so high that we should all have this. But that is some of the issues that the models can have with too much, especially when you blend them all together, because then they tend to take all these things and it spreads it all out. I would say it's probably a little bit less than what we're seeing here today. Of course, you see the darker colors come in, which means things are drying out. So for Wednesday, ending Thursday morning, we get to less than 10% in most of lower Michigan, with 20 to 25 up to 30 down in the southeast corner there as things start to push off finally. All right, let's go to Texas. We'll go back to our mean temps. And into South Texas we go. Starting over for today. If you've looked at this map, it all in the last, mainly last week, this doesn't change much. So we're looking at temperatures in right around 100 degrees, maybe up to, looks like as high as 102 in the models, could be 103-ish. So 100 to 105 out there in the brush country and the Rio Grande Plains. Along the coastal areas, we're looking at 80s and 90s, the upper 80s and lower 90s. And then mid-90s as you get into the coastal plains out here, Jim Wells County, Beeville, B County. The Victoria Crossroads, you get into the mid-90s. You notice that area of red kind of is spreading out again. So but for the most part, we're looking at 100 to 105 out to the west, along the coastal areas, around 90 and the upper 80s, especially out at the beaches. And then for Wednesday, it's much the same. All right, let's look at what is going to happen precipitation-wise. All right, let's look at what's going to happen precipitation-wise. It gets us back here to 8 a.m. tomorrow morning so that we have our 24-hour. As I kind of noted before, we don't have a whole lot of wind, and so that allows, with the light winds, that allows the sea breeze to kick up, and this is probably what's going to happen. We will probably get the sea breeze to get going so that in here it'll start to penetrate, but it won't really kick off any showers and thunderstorms. It's probably going to be out in this area. This is where the most likely area for a lot of the showers and thunderstorms are going to be. So we're looking at the Victoria Crossroads. We're looking into the western part of the coastal plains. The brush country then gets out of it for the most part, unless something gets fired up here and wants to just keep on going. That has happened. And then as you get further out to the west, the precipitation chances drop. For Tuesday and Tuesday night, which would end Wednesday morning, looks like things should go. That upper level low that was in East Texas, I think that's our main driver of some of this instability. So we are looking at 35 to 40% up here in the Victoria Crossroads. Otherwise, the rest of the coastal plain and coastal bend, it looks like it's right around 20 to 25%. There is a chance for that same out to the west. Looks like we have another feature that's trying to move in later on this week. And then Wednesday and Wednesday night, we have much of the same. The Rio Grande Plains look like they're less than 10% across most of that area. We're at 15% out here in a good portion of the brush country as well. It looks like it's just the coastal plain and the Victoria Crossroads where we were seeing anywhere from 25% up to about 35 or 40% in around Victoria. All right, and that's it. I tried to do this faster. I don't know how much faster it's going to be. I still have to cut everything down because there were some things that are going to have to get fixed. So hopefully we'll try to get you a better way to have a live stream. I do have my Mac Mini back. It is functioning well, and I think most of the updates on it have gone through. I haven't been able to really use that in the RV. The boat's a little bit easier to use it in. I just have to put together another screen so that I can run OBS and then do all this other stuff, kind of like I did when I was in Michigan. Okay, and with that, have a great day and take care.